How's everybody doing today? Man, we're up at the crack of morning here. This is a little bit of a different time zone for me here. We usually go a little later, but Megan and I were off in Boston this week and this weekend, so we didn't do any live stream. Usually we do it like on Sunday. So now we're going to try this today on a Tuesday morning because why not? No one's the boss of me, YouTube. You don't own me. I'll do what I want. Megan, say hi to the wonderful people out here.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, we have a very special guest that is going to help us out with the 60-second strategy today, and that is our good friend, Mr. D. Nimmin. D, how you doing, pal?
Good morning, Mr. Batal. I'm just here to let you know that on behalf of YouTube, they do, in fact, tell you what to do. So. How are you doing? How's everybody in the chat doing?
I had a moment of feeling like I owned something there, and I guess no, I don't. Nope. I really don't.
YouTube giveth, YouTube taketh away. That's
100%.
That's it. Yeah.
So listen, for anyone who hasn't done this with me before and been on the 60-second strategy, what we do here is the idea is that when people come to your channel, they don't give you a whole lot of time to really decide whether or not they're into your content or if they understand what your channel's about or if they think about subscribing. So what we're really focused on here is taking a look at your channel really quickly from the outside in and seeing sort of the things that might be distracting from your value prop, or if your value prop isn't clear, or things that you could be doing better. So when someone does land on your channel, they immediately become engaged with what it is you got going on there, and hopefully you can hook them and hold on to them. So we put 60 seconds on the clock, and when the 60 seconds is up, that's it. We stop. And we're going to be pulling people from the chat. We do prioritize super chats when we get them, but don't feel like you have to super chat to get your channel pulled up. We're going to be pulling all kinds of people up here today. So, I always say, just get right into it, right? Let's not waste any time here. D, you ready to do this?
I'm ready to go. And I just want to say on a personal note, I think 60 seconds is being generous in regards to how long it takes someone to decide if they're going to subscribe or not. It takes me seconds.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, seconds.
Seconds. Total seconds. All right, let me see. I'm going to try to find a channel here. It looks like we've got Billy Boy. Let me see if I can find his channel. If I can see what's the profile pic for that one, Megan?
Let me scroll up a little bit.
I have to find that one. See if
while you're looking for that, I just want to say this is the first time I think I've streamed with you since we had that big editing live stream that time. Usually I'm over here pulling all the levers, and I don't have to do anything today. So this is great.
Usually you're the one that has to do all the heavy lifting, and I'm just hanging around in the background. But now I'm like, forget about it.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
All right, links in the chat. Thank you, Megan. Let me copy that. Let me put it over here. Paste and go. All right, here is Billy Boy. All right, I am going to share that screen. Let's put it up here. D, I'll do the honors of the first one so you can see what we're doing here, and then after that you're going to be up next. So try not to show me up on my own show, okay? Please, like don't
impossible to do. Impossible to do. I'm here as a student.
No from Billy Boy in the chat. Don't do my channel.
No, he's saying no. Wow, well, that's a great way to say yes. When you say no, we know you mean yes. So Megan, would you please put 60 seconds on the clock?
I'm sorry, Billy. 3, 2, 1. Go.
All right, Billy, what I'm looking at right off the bat is think about doing something with this channel art. Now, I know you've only got 2 subscribers here. It's a smaller channel. It looks like that you don't really have anything in the About tab. It's been around for a while, but you've got, a handful of videos you're putting up. You're starting to make some content. It's not a ton, so I think you have most of this stuff is more recent, which is fantastic. Just think about trying to make sure from the outset that someone understands what the channel's about. I see Billy Boy, I see this country road, but I don't know what the value of the channel is and why I would want to come back. So if you are trying to build this for more than just fun, some people just have channels because they like to upload stuff and they don't really care about growing it. If you are trying to grow it, make sure you're thinking about what the value is so that when someone lands here, they know in an instant, oh, this is what this channel's about. This is what I can expect down the line. And they can make a decision whether they want to subscribe to this channel and become invested or move on to something else if it's not their cup of tea. I also would say make sure if you start making thumbnails that are a little more compelling, some of these things are a little bit just text. A picture of the dog's kind of cool.
That just scared the bejesus out of me.
They de-jumped. Didn't even see it coming.
Oh,
he's
my
like,
God.
What the hell was that?
That was really loud in my headphones. That just, yeah. Whew.
Yeah, sometimes we get channels that I think that, not everybody comes to YouTube looking to really grow a channel. Sometimes people come here and they just want to have a little fun. They want to upload some videos. They're learning to perfect the craft of just making videos. And not everybody's looking to like quit their day job and become like a full-time content creator. But the same rules do kind of apply. Like if you're trying to make something and you're putting it on YouTube, typically that means you wanted someone to see it, whether that's, family, friends, whatever. So packaging the stuff up and making it presentable, unlike me, usually I just look like I rolled out of bed, is probably a good thing. So it makes it a little easier for people to digest and consume your content.
I don't sell yourself short. I know that hair takes a lot of work. There was a time in my history where I had hair. So
when was that?
I appreciate what you do. Up until I was about 25 or 30, somewhere around
I think
there.
that was before I knew you. Nothing wrong with that. I like the juxtaposition that our two heads have.
Yes.
Kind of look like a somewhat either before and after, but I'm not exactly sure who's the before.
Yes.
If we reverse, it's like a Miracle Grow thing.
Yes.
All right. Series 7 Guru. Is it Guru or is it Guru, D? I don't.
Guru.
Guru. Guru? Guru. Yeah, one of those. Okay, here is Series 7 Guru. I think this is the correct channel. And a $10 super chat with this one. Thank you very much. We appreciate the super chat. So, D, the way this goes is I think you saw Megan's going to give you a countdown, and then I will just go. You can go. If you need me to scroll on this page, let me know, and I'll do just that.
All right, I can go?
We ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, this is obviously a very niche channel. She or he? Can you scroll down just a little bit? Whoever, they are targeting a very specific user here. So I think by putting up there in your channel art exactly what this channel is for, that doesn't speak to me, but I'm obviously not your target audience, but I believe to your target audience, that's going to knock it right out of the park, helping you pass your test for the first time. Scroll down a little bit. Series, let's see what they're doing for their trailer video. I don't know how you're choosing this video here, but make sure if you want to maximize this to make sure you have something for the new people who are not subscribed and to make sure you have something for subscribers. For unsubscribed people, maybe put something here that is the highest performing video because you know it's a proven winner. As far as your thumbnails, instead of seeing a playlist right here at the top, I would like to see some high performing videos right here. I like that you are titling out your playlist. I think that's great. A little description underneath your playlist. Breaking that down.
Did that one scare you?
No, I was a little bit prepared for that one. I was trying to go as fast as I could on that one. I was like, go.
Yeah, I dig what you were saying there about playlists. We're huge fans of playlists, but keep in mind that you can actually, whereas these are all playlist, Guru, you can actually put individual playlists across here instead of playlists of playlists. It's sort of the idea of boxes of boxes of boxes, like that Russian doll thing. You open one, there's another one inside you can open. Not necessarily a bad idea in some situations, but in general, it feels like there's so much here on your homepage to anybody who's building a channel. The more connection you can get with that viewer in an instant, it's harder to connect with this giant list of videos that you want them to watch. Easier to connect with things when they have individual thumbnails and something you can read and go, oh, like going into a bookstore. If all the books were all packaged into boxes, you'd go like, well, I got to open the box to find the books. That's a little tricky for me. Whereas if they're all nicely arranged on a shelf where you can see each one and read each title and look at the covers, just makes it a little more presentable.
Yeah, putting the playlist together like that, you see it cuts off probably, 20% of the actual visibility of the thumbnail itself. Yeah. So you're losing some of the readability on the thumbnails by doing it this way.
You're right, though. Super niche, right?
Yeah,
The FINRA and NASA exam prep channel helping you pass your test for the first time. It is very clear what's going on there, Dean, though. I do get it. This is Dean Tenney talking to us. Hey, Dean. So that's I do like that. I like how clear it is and easy to understand. And you can always build that out. I think one of the things you might want to think about, anybody who's building a channel, don't be afraid to add some imagery, even if it's your face up in the channel art, or maybe some imagery instead of a white background. You could actually put an image of one of like the cover pages of one of these tests. If it's a booklet, a test, kind of off or scattered into the background to give that feeling, the pencil and the test kind of thing, just to make it feel the experience at an instant, oh, I get what this is without having to read all the words and then guess. I always say that if you can use imagery to help sell the idea of a channel, it can really help move things forward.
One more note on the playlist before you move on is instead of grouping those all together, you see how you're titling that at the top. If you're putting individual playlists up there so it shows as individual videos on the playlist, you can target that title of that individual playlist to better target your audience instead of trying to just cram a bunch of things in there, because playlists are something that can get recommended to people.
Absolutely. And they can show up, they can show up in search and recommendations. So it's really kind of a win-win when you're out there trying to put things together a little more intentionally. Let me see if
so much for 60 seconds. Wow.
Yeah, well, we go a little long sometimes.
Like 360.
Okay. I hope I have the right channel here. It looks like Jim Krautkremer. And he said, good morning. Super excited for this. All right, Jim. Let me see. Megan, does this, let me bring this up here. Does this seem to be the channel that we are the avatar of Jim? Make sure sometimes you have more, it'd be surprised to find that there are many Jim Krautkremers out there, but there probably are. Krautkremer is a fairly unique last name.
That looks right.
Okay. All right, Megan, back to me. Put 60 seconds on the clock and let's see what we got going on here.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, right off the bat, when we were just talking about channel art, Jim, make sure that you're using channel art on your channel. You've got a great picture of you. I actually like your avatar. I can see who you are. Great smiling face, very inviting, but there's no channel art up top to help me understand what the channel's about and what the value is and why I might want to become invested. And when I scroll down, I just get buckets. The playlist that you've got on the front here is Uploads. Uploads is the default playlist. When you first create a channel, they just start sticking all your stuff right onto the homepage in Uploads. So whether that content is really well related to the previous one or not, if it doesn't fall into the same physical bucket, they'll just stick them all together. So think about creating playlists in your videos and trying to organize them by topic. I know you're new. You've got only a handful of videos out, even though these are, I say new, some of these are 4 years old, but new in terms of how much content you've been putting out recently. Think about getting consistent. Think about trying to put that content out at least once a week. And that'll really help you start connecting with an audience. Consistency in your uploads is very important.
I want to jump in here really quick and say, you can see the 3 thumbnails where they have the white text and the yellow bold text, right?
Yeah.
So you've got 1, 2, 3, 41, 35 views. Yeah, those. Yep. Yeah. And then there's one next to it. I think that would perform a lot better if you use the same sort of strategy there in terms of making sure everything was readable.
Yeah.
Instead of
I think
that thumbnail strategy is working really well.
This is a great thumbnail right there.
Yeah,
With thumbnails, something that we all have to think about, people. Thumbnails like, this is really great, understandable, convert 80% of your listing appointments. I get what that is. This one's kind of cut off, the 4 and the steps. It's not cropped well. There's this image, I can't tell you what it was, without cutting your, and then it's cut off, which is kind of, that's apropos. How meta is that? Without cutting your, and then it's cut off. Thumbnails are one of those things, I think people really undervalue how important the packaging can be for content. We've been talking a lot in the Battalion members only group about not just thumbnails, but titles, the way the two work together. Having the right title and then the right thumbnail to represent it, and having them work really well together make all the difference in the world of trying to win that click when someone's in their scroll. Sometimes people think it's only thumbnails, and sometimes some people think it's only titles. And I'll tell you, they both, a bad title can tank a video just as quickly as a bad thumbnail can. So really think about that packaging, because that's where people are going to see in an instant and glance at it and have to make a decision whether or not that video is something for them or if it's something they want to pass by and move on to something else.
Here's a question for everyone in the audience. What do you notice first when you're scrolling through YouTube? Do you notice the title first or do you notice the thumbnail? I noticed the thumbnail first.
Yeah,
that's what I noticed first.
I think you're right. I think the thumbnail really is the eye catcher, but I think that they really do work together. We've been testing a lot.
Oh, of course.
And a compelling title, if you have a title that just like, it'll stop them in their scroll, but if the title doesn't do it too, if it's like, what is this? And it doesn't quite work well. People will just lose interest and go, you made me think too much to try to figure out what this was instead of just grabbing me. Because it's just like almost like a news headline, right? A lot of times when you open up a magazine or you open up a newspaper, you'll see like a great headline and a great picture to go with it. And those two are the things that work together to stop you and go, oh, I want to read this article because the title and the image are what pulled me in.
Yeah, that's my process. The thumbnail will stop my scroll. And then after I notice the thumbnail, then I look at the title and say, okay, is this something that I want to tap on?
Yeah.
If the title blows it, the answer is no. So they definitely work hand in hand.
Don't blow it. We get a super chat from Crispy Biscuits. Thank you for the $5 super chat, my friend. That means a lot.
Can I interrupt for 1 second and throw out there? It looks like Doug gifted a channel membership out there.
Doug gifted a channel membership. I didn't even see that one. Let me see where that was. Doug gifted it. I have to find it now. Oh man, that's the first time I think that's happened. You can pull that up if you find it, Megan, if it's in the chat. Thank you, Doug. I wonder who did he gift it to? Did you see?
He's asking if anybody's claimed it yet. So I think he just gifted it out.
Oh, we just gifted it out and someone can claim it. So there's this there. This is the first time for me. Have you ever done this before? The gifted memberships?
No, but I think it's random. I don't.
So
unless they've updated it since the last I looked, it's all randomized. Like he can't say give that to D, unless it's been updated.
Okay, so there's one out there. So
Somebody
whoever grabs that, you'll become a channel membership in the battalion group that we have here. That'll allow you to access a lot of the private content that we have for channel members only. And it also allows you to get into our Facebook members only group. So if you do grab that, go to my memberships tab on my channel, and you'll see under the perks section, there'll be the access to get into the Facebook members only group, where we talk about strategy every single day. And you'll be able to see all of the members only live content that I have on the channel. Doug, that was very nice of you. Thank you very much.
Just for people who are on the fence of becoming a channel member on Daniel's channel, hands down, I think the battalions are the best Facebook group of any of the educators out there.
I appreciate that.
And that's just like straight up, man. Your group is just absolute fire. And I think you guys are just like milestone after milestone after milestone. So yeah, man, you definitely want to be a member over at Daniel's channel.
Yeah, I will say the amount of channels the people who succeed overall on the platform, if you look at the proportion in our group, it's just hitting 10,000 subscribers is like a daily event in our group, because the team is just so focused and helping each other and growing channels and trying to do the right thing and bouncing ideas, that being in that membership group is well worth the investment, I've always said. But let's do this. We now have, thank you, Crispy Biscuits, for the $5 super chat. He said, I'd be very grateful if you could, I think it's a he, I'd be very grateful if you could do mine, because I love getting criticism and tips. I really want to grow my channel a whole lot. Well, you just spoke the words right out of my head, and that's what I think too. I really want to grow mine too. So Megan, can you give me a countdown here? Let me take a look at Crispy Biscuits.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, number 1, Crispy Biscuits, a very cool name, but the whole thing that you've got in your channel art here is all focused around your name. I don't know what it is. So think about making sure that you're providing some kind of hint to people when they land here. What is this? What is this channel about? Because I don't know based on the channel art alone. You also have a link to Instagram and a link to Twitter up in the upper right. Get that out of here for now. For right now, we're trying to grow a channel, not send people off platform. We're trying to keep them on platform. So save that stuff for your descriptions. Same thing down here when we start pushing towards a sequel channel, you're trying to grow this channel. So instead of pushing people to something else, keep them here, grow this channel. Try to do something more than uploads. Try to start putting your content into playlists. Oh, you only got 5. So, okay, it's kind of new. So what I will say is I love the thumbnails. They've got a lot of pop. It looks like this is a gaming, because it's Sonic the movie, but then it's Luigi's Mansion. I'm not quite sure if this is cartoons or if it's gaming, but it looks like cartoons. I like when the portion of it is heavy. That gets you, right?
I'm just not used to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I this is one of the things I always talk to most channels about, is making it super clear what the channel's about. D, what do you think about these thumbnails, though, in terms of pop?
Yeah, in terms of just contrast and something that's eye-grabbing, I like them. I really like the thumbnails. What I would like to see as you build out your content library are playlists on your homepage, like Daniel said, instead of uploads. Build out a playlist. So if you have videos just for Sonic, put that in there. If you have videos just for Mario Brothers, put that in there.
And anyone in the chat, anyone watching along on the replay, this is the kind of thing we talk about. I did several videos on this, and we talk about making sure that you have a clear value proposition and defining the audience you're trying to reach. One thing you want to think about is if you have one video that's talking about ranking every Sonic game ever, that makes you a gaming channel in my eyes. But then when I come over here and then I see which Sonic movie is actually better, unless this was a channel that was dedicated to Sonic the Hedgehog, which I don't think it is, because I'm seeing Luigi's Mansion. you're straddling two different audiences, one that might be into gaming and one that might be into animated series like Sonic or Luigi or whatever else there might be. So it's movies and gaming, and those are two different people, because there are people who may love movies and not and not have any interest in the games, and vice versa. So make sure you're being clear about who you're trying to reach. And the channel's new. One of the things we always say is when you have a new channel, you really want to think about testing things out, see what works, not only for the audience, but for you, because our passions and what we think is what we really want to do. Sometimes we don't know until we try it. So I commend you trying different types of content. I recommend everybody to do that when you're new. Try different things and see what fits. But also, at some point, the faster you can sort of decide what's working and what you want to do, that you can see yourself doing 2 years from now, super important. And if you can get into that lane faster, it's going to help you grow your channel overall over time.
Yeah, in regards to putting your name up in the channel art, this is something that I think all of us have done at one point or another when we started out on YouTube, be it through our first or second channels. We want to put our name up there, but the thing to remember is, if someone doesn't know you, your name means nothing to them. Your name means absolutely nothing to them when they just stumble across you, because you haven't provided any value to them. You haven't taught them how to do anything. You haven't entertained them. It's just your name. So instead of having your name really big up in the channel art, that should be the smallest thing. The biggest thing is what's in it for the viewer. Possibly your value proposition, something short. Just telling them what your channel is about. Your name should be the smallest thing up there if you're going to put it up there at all.
100%. Totally agree. Hey, big shout out to one of the battalion members, my pal Tinkerman Mick, just crushing it. Here's Tinkerman Mick's channel. He's been leveraging shorts in a way that's so effective and strong. He does a lot of sort of like fixing Xboxes, how to clean them, how to do things with like the remotes, real simple sort of everyday tips and tricks for people who are gamers, or things that you might tinker with that you have kicking around your house, your game. Sometimes he does some phones, how to like clean the speakers on your phones. He's really been leaning into gaming a lot. But when you see like how well he's been leveraging some of these videos, look at this: 12 million views on this short, 11 million views on this short, 6.6 million, 4.8 million, 3.5. If anybody is interested in trying to figure out how to use shorts effectively, go to Mick's channel, because he just has crushed it with getting into shorts when they were a newer feature, figuring out what worked that was true to what his channel was about, his value prop, and then leaning into it really hard, and doing it really well. So congratulations on that. 250,000 subscribers, 250,000 subscribers. That's just nuts numbers. That's numbers.
That's awesome. Congratulations. And I want to say this, because I just talked about the channel art. Now, this is one of the situations where the channel art with your name works, because what he's doing is in his channel name. Yep. Right? Tinkerman, you know what's going on in the channel when you land on it. So there are situations based on your channel name where you can get away with that.
Yeah, and and Mick is smart. Like, he'll sneak in that subtle look at all the Xbox controllers. You'll see the Xbox over, the logo subtle, off to the side. He's got little pieces of things going on here that give hints about what the channel's about. But it really is, when you look at that logo, there's this potato logo, right? And there he is with the headset on, and he's got the controller, and he tinkers with this stuff. That's what he does. Shows you how to fix them, shows you how to clean them out, how to get them working, learn more about all the little intricacies of what the controllers do and the Xbox do, how to get them running right, how to fix an old broken one and get them working straight again. He just does a lot of playing around with that stuff, and he gets rewarded for being very true to this week after week after week after week. His content is always very consistent. So, man, couldn't be happier for you, pal. Just love watching people in the group just blow up.
Those are some massive shorts numbers too.
Huge.
And now that YouTube is connecting short form with long form, I'm really curious to see what happens with his channel in terms of taking off. I'm assuming he's got longer form content as well.
He does. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
and it was funny because he and I had a consultation not that long ago where we were looking at it. Shorts are doing great, growing his channel quickly,
right? But
the long form content was where all the money was. That's where all the AdSense money is, and that's where the vast majority of the income he gets is from the longer. So we had a whole conversation about balancing the shorts and putting some long form in there, spreading it out, because those are the ones that are going to make sure that he continues to drive revenue that he wants until they do something more with shorts. And it's slowly getting better. Shoppable's on the way, the linking pushing back to longer. I see good things, but right now they're not the best way to make money. Unfortunately,
Not yet,
great
yeah.
way to grow a channel and an audience and a community. Not the best way to line your pocket.
Yep.
All right, let me see. We've got another channel here. I love this. I love this channel name. It is Amped to Glamp. Amped to Glamp gave its $10 super chat. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. Love your channel. Always such good advice. We're really struggling with our thumbnails and titles. Well, let me tell you something, my friends. You have come to the right place because we have the fabulous Mr. D. Niman here, who is a fantastic thumbnail designer. So what I'm going to do is have Megan put 10 seconds on, put 60 seconds on the clock and give you a countdown, D. And,
thumbnails.
and this one's all yours. You want me to go to the videos tab for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're having problems with the thumbnails.
Yeah, count that in, Megan.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so if you're having problems with the thumbnails, the first thing that I'm going to say here, if I'm looking at your thumbnails, I like that you're using a bold white font, but it doesn't contrast a lot. It doesn't pop the way I would like to have it pop out. Let me see if he's zooming around here. Intra banded clump out. Okay, so you're talking about glamping, right? I would show more of the actual, because the glamping, if I understand it, is just kind of glorified camping, be it like really cool tents or RV camping, that sort of thing. I would really focus hard on that, showing that more than the actual people, right? Because if I don't know you yet and I'm interested in glamping, I want to see what you're sleeping in. I want to see what you're actually going to be staying in. So that's what I would focus on. Make sure your thumbnails are just really contrast heavy. Really, really contrast heavy, because when you're scrolling, you're competing with so many other thumbnails that are fighting for attention. But I think you're on the right track in terms of you're not putting a lot of text on there. You're keeping it simple, which is on the right track. I would just like to see more glamping images instead of you. Nothing wrong with you. But as someone who doesn't know you, I want to see what you're sleeping in.
Yeah, and for anyone in the chat, this is one of the things we talk about. This looks like, and I could be wrong, that the images are actually still frames from the video. These look like, I could be wrong, some of these look like they're posed, but a lot of these look like they seem to be, some of them look like pictures, but in a lot of the newer ones, I went to most popular, but just based on newest, a lot of these seem to be like a still frame that was happening somewhere in the video. I really think because we have the ability to make custom thumbnails, invest into that great imagery. Think about exactly what
Even
Dee
with
said.
your phone. Even with your phone.
Take a quick picture. Take a great set up an intentional shot, right? Make it interesting, make it fun. Put your even if with your phone, put it up on a little tripod and pose in front of whatever that great thing is, or take great shots of that. Like Dee said, here's one of the things that anyone can do. If you have issues trying to figure out how to find great imagery or what a great image looks like, type your niche into Google, go to the images tab, and then let YouTube start deciding what a great glamping image is. And you can start learning, like, well, what connects with people? What are great glamping images? Now look at some of these with the tents, with the beds in them. This is the image that I think that Dee was talking about. Think about research the imagery that works across the globe by using things like Google, and bring some of those images into your thumbnails, because that is really what it is.
Right. Focus on what your viewers are actually there for. And I'm not talking about your current community. I'm talking about people who don't know you yet, people you want to reach, people you want to catch their eye when they're scrolling through YouTube, right? The pictures of these, exactly what Daniel's showing, be it an RV or whatever, because they don't know you yet. There's a misconception where people think that they have to put themselves in the thumbnail. That's not true. The thumbnail is there to get clicked on, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to put your face in it. It doesn't mean that you have to be in it. It doesn't even mean you have to put text in it, right? So I would experiment with those things. I would try not even putting text. Don't put yourself in there. Don't put text in there. Test it out. You can use TubeBuddy's A/B feature for that and see which one your ideal viewer responds most to. With you in the picture, not in the picture. Text, without text. But like the images Daniel were just showing, like, as someone who's interested in glamping, that's what I want to see in your thumbnails. I want to scroll and see something so awesome in terms of glamping that I have to click on. I'm compelled to click on that image. So take your phone, if you don't have a camera, and learn how to take good pictures, be it your RV or the tents or whatever. You have to learn how to be a photographer in addition to everything else you have to do on YouTube.
Oh, don't you love YouTube?
It'll pay off.
You got to have
Yeah, a lot of hats.
wear a lot of hats, every skill possible you have to master. But it is
That's
true.
the
I
difference.
think,
That's the difference, though.
One of the things we talk about, like people always ask, like, how do you make a good thumbnail? And I always think that's the wrong choice. The word you should be using is how do you make an effective thumbnail?
Yes.
Because good is arbitrary. Like there are channels that are like, I make these great thumbnails and they're super colorful and got all kinds of pop and all this stuff, but they're hard to understand. So a good thumbnail is one that is effective, that wins the click. And sometimes that can be something very simple, doesn't need a lot, can just be a great image, and that's all it takes to win the click.
Yeah, one thing to be mindful of is when you, as someone who consumes content, when you're looking at YouTube, start paying attention. Like, I'm going to click on this. Oh, wait a minute. Why am I clicking on this thumbnail? What is it about this thumbnail that makes me want to click on it? Start paying attention to those things and go track down the largest channels in your niche, whatever your niche is. Study their thumbnails because they figured it out. They figured out what's working.
Love it. Yeah, and I love the channel name though. And we always talk about these a lot, like a channel name that you understand in a minute. Amp to Glamp, for people who are into glamping, that's a great name. I mean, the minute I saw that, I knew it was like, I knew what that was. Excited to go out and do some glamping. So I dig it. I love the channel name. Make sure everything else lives up to that imagery that you get just from reading the title. Get those images in people's heads. We have another. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Daniel made a video, if you haven't watched it yet, on YouTube being hard. I recommend everyone to go watch that video if you haven't yet, because we have to do so much as YouTubers. It's not just I'm a YouTuber, right? It's an editor. It's maybe a set designer. It's a thumbnail designer. It's a videographer. It's a photographer. It's a communicator. We have to wear all of these hats at all times, and it is hard. It is really hard. I go recommend you watch that video if you haven't already.
I appreciate that shout out. All right, so we got a question here from Drew Project. Question: how does my channel look from an external point of view? Is there anything that I can improve on to entice people to stay and subscribe? Well, let me do this. Let me take a look at your channel. Let's pull it up here.
While you're pulling that up, I want to say really quick, just to continue what I just said right there. Don't feel overwhelmed by all of that. Yeah. Like I just said, all the things you got to do. Don't feel overwhelmed by all of that. Understand that you're going to suck at some of this stuff, or maybe all of the stuff, but the way you get better is through repetition. So just start doing it and keep doing it. You will get better at it. No matter what step, photography, videography, editing, just keep going. You'll get better.
Yeah. You know, we always say, if you can just focus on each video, just focus on one thing and try to make one thing better. If that's, I'm just going to get my lighting a little better. I'm going to try to get maybe the next one, I'll try to get my sound a little better. Focus on one little aspect. And just for that video go, that's where I'm going to really lay into trying to improve a bit. And you'll find over time, as the more you do those things, they start becoming more natural to do them more effectively. So it is time. It takes time.
Yep.
All right, Megan, could you give me a countdown here for the Drew Project channel?
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, right here, the first thing off the bat is it says new music every Wednesday at 10 a.m. EST. That's fantastic, but I don't know what that means, my friend. New music, is it your music? Is this cover music? I don't really understand from the outside in. It's just a guy with a guitar, and I'm like, all right, it's a music channel, but that doesn't tell me anything. Is it country music? Is it pop music? I don't know what it is. So is that you teaching people how to play? So really making it clear exactly what the value of this channel is would be super helpful. There is a channel trailer. I like the imagery. I think everything looks really good. I get that it looks like you're a musician because they're singing, there's guitars, I see bass, but is it all of you? So it says down here, all the covers published so far, acoustic range. So it looks like covers. So one of the things I would talk about is, if you're going to do covers, then make sure that's clear up here, that it just doesn't say new music. It's like covering the most popular, covering your favorite songs. And when you get down here, think about that. Drew Project most recent videos doesn't tell me anything. Break these things up. You've got Christmas songs, then do.
My God, I'm going to have a heart attack. I keep forgetting that's going to happen. Woo, man! I need Megan. You need to send me like a SMS or something before you're going to hit that. Good Lord!
It does stop you in your tracks, though, doesn't it?
Wow.
I like that. You know, I got to say, I do like what he's got going on in the channel, but it's got some very music image type. Like this one here caught my eye very quickly. Him with the hat and the sunglasses, and he's doing a version of All I Want for Christmas Is You. So like that kind of stuff is very easy to understand at a glance. And probably some of these other ones
there, right? Male acoustic versions of popular female songs. Like that's a little more niche.
Yeah.
See, this there a little bit.
I would love, Yeah, male acoustic. I would love if some of that. I love how focused it is, but at the end of the day, start figuring out what's been connecting on your channel. Anybody out there, real easy thing to do from the outside in. We always just look at what's the most popular, and assuming that all of these are organic views. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes there's paid reach in there. But if these are organic, I try to figure out what worked, and then I try to double down on what people seem to dig. So they loved your Adele cover. They loved the Lady Gaga cover. The Christmas one that I thought really jumped is the number 3 video on your entire channel. Great thumbnail, really great thumbnail. So sometimes it's thumbnail style. I don't hate this, but I will say be careful with some of the font choices. Anyone making thumbnails, if you use fonts that are using quite a few words and the font is cursive, or it's not sans serif, meaning it has all the little extra swirls and things on it. Sometimes that can be harder to read on a mobile device, which is where most people tend to find content. D, what do you think about any comment on thumbnails here?
I call those fancy pants fonts.
Yeah.
You don't want any fancy pants fonts. Don't look, as someone, if you're sitting down on Photoshop or Canva, it's really easy, especially if you have just a smidgen of a design background or you like to make that stuff. We want to make it look good. And they do look good as an image, just not as a thumbnail. And that's the thing that you have to separate in your head is, hey, that looks really cool. And it might, but does it make a good YouTube thumbnail? Is it easy to read on a mobile device? And sometimes those fancy pants fonts like that are low contrast. Those aren't it. So I would be very careful with that as well. I would probably go with something bold, something, Arial bold, impact, something along those lines. Keep it really simple.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's not that I think this is bad. I just think,
Right.
the easier you can make it on the viewer to understand at a glance. And I think I love about this, the image helps represent what's actually it's a Christmas. I can see it's a Christmas song. You're in the Santa outfit, you get the hat on, and you've got the microphone. So I know before you even read, you're doing a Christmas song. So think about that when you do anybody who's making content. Think about that representing it. Like, don't always just have yourself pictured playing guitar, because we kind of get that. But if you can represent what's actually happening here, if it's like Take Me Home Country Roads, then don't be afraid to get some of that country feel. Like, get out there, take the shot outside, pose with your guitar sitting near a country dirt road and take that shot. If you live near the country, if you live in the city, that's a little trickier. But you know what I mean? Things that can help push the imagery forward is always important.
Yeah, I think you're choosing some pretty good images for some of those, especially the Christmas one. But I would test something, and this could be controversial, and Daniel, I don't know how you feel about this, but I know there have been studies done on thumbnails how, like if you're doing an Adele song, put your picture there, maybe doing Adele, and then put her picture over on the side too. Like her fans will identify with that. Same with Lady Gaga.
Totally agree.
Some people might not recommend that because of copyright issues, but I think in a situation where you're doing a cover song that is transformative, so you can probably get away with that.
Yeah, I think anything that can help connect people, right? Because if they don't, you got to remember that anybody building a channel out there, channels never grow faster than when they are being consumed by people who don't know who you are. That's how you grow a channel. That your content has to go in front of people who may not know who you are, and they discover you, and they decide to watch the content. They decide to subscribe to the channel. That's what we want. So it's not just building communities. It's also about reaching people tomorrow who don't know who you are today. So things that we were talking about, whenever you do thumbnails, the way you build your channels, really think about things that are going to help those people understand, because they haven't watched a ton of your videos yet. They don't have that inside knowledge of who you are from the outside in. So you want to get them in the front door. Once you get them in the front door, then all the great, structure, the way you are writing songs, the way you're making videos, the way you're putting things together, that's where that stuff has a ton of impact once they're in. But you got to get them in first.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. We have, let me see if is it Toasty XL? I'm going to help me there, Megan.
Toasty.exe1.
.exe1. Toasty.exe1. Okay, yep, sure. That's an easy one to tell people what your channel name is. That's a $4.99 super chat. Hey, I thank you for the super chat. I made he says I made skits and edit videos. I make skits and edit videos. I have periods of growth and then it stops. What's wrong with my channel? Well, you've come to the right place. Because we're willing to give you all of 60 seconds to explain all of your life woes right now.
What's wrong with my channel? Yeah. You got 60
You got it.
seconds.
Well, thankfully, we have the great D. Niman here who has an entire minute to tell you what he thinks the problem is. So, D, if you could give a countdown over there, Megan.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, toasty.exe1. I'm just going to say this right out of the gate. I have no idea what you're doing on your channel. I love that you're putting in the work, you're uploading, but I'm looking at your shorts here. I'm looking at your videos. I don't see anything in the channel. I don't know what's going on with your channel. So in terms of, maybe you're seeing spurts and then it's dying off. The spurts could be coming from, you just happen to upload something that's topically trending, right? Maybe someone is interested in this particular topic, the Elden Rings, and you make a video about Elden Rings, you get a little boost, and then that loses popularity, and then your views go back down. Here's what I would do. I would think long and hard what your channel is about. Try to come up with a single sentence that you can tell people. If we met in an elevator, I said, tell me in a single sentence what your elevator's about, what your channel's about, you should be able to tell me. So think about what that is. Put some channel art up there. 10 seconds. All right. Put some channel art, write what that value proposition is, and then stay focused to whatever it is that you decide that your channel's about. Because I have no idea what it is.
You nailed it. You have this 60-second thing down. We talk about this a lot too. D, the channel name.
That's what I was going to say. I said I would also reconsider your name, because if I wanted to tell someone, if I met up with somebody and my phone battery is dead, and because that's usually the case, I'm like, dude, you got to see this channel. It's called like Toasty. It's toasty.rar under something. Like I wouldn't remember your name. So think about a memorable channel name that would be easy to sink into people's heads so they could tell people.
Yeah. That's so true. I think so. We talk about this a lot of times. There seems to be this plague that people come from like a gaming community, or they have a handle somewhere on like Instagram or something, or they're on Twitch, and they bring it over thinking, well, that's how people know me from like some other thing they signed up for. But they're here on YouTube building a channel, and it's like, what's that? You just saw me wrestle with that. I was like reading it like, what is it, Megan? Toasty.exe what? Like, I would never remember that. It would be so hard to not only remember, but explain to someone else if they've time to tell them to hit up your channel and check it out.
Here's the thing, and this, I want everyone in the chat to think about this. At some point in your YouTube journey, when your channel starts building momentum and maybe you become one of the leaders in your niche, right? And if you're a battalion, that's probably going to happen. But one of these days, you're going to become a leader in your niche, and you're going to be going on people's podcast audio only. And they're going to say, tell us about your channel. So one, you're going to learn how to tell people what your channel is about really quickly. Number two, what's your channel name? Toasty.exe1. Well, is that one is in the number one, or is it spelled O-N-E? And is it dot is in like the character dot, or is it in D-O-T? Right? So you want to think about something that you can say in a podcast with no visuals. So keep workshopping that until you can do it, because eventually you'll get there.
Yeah. It is. And, I think people forget, like, this is a process. Everybody out there who has channels, anybody in the chat, anybody watching in the replay, I mean, take these little criticisms and slowly start dialing things in. Remember, it's so hard to look at our own thing from the outside in and get an idea of what we're doing right sometimes and what we're doing wrong. Analytics help from the inside, but from the outside, kind of tricky. You think like, I think I did something right, but then it's sometimes you just need someone to go, you know what I'm having trouble with here when I land here? This is confusing to me. And that simple little bit of advice can be all it takes to have someone go, perfect, I'll work on that. And that's the reason we do these 60-second strategies, just to give you some quick tips for what we see at a glance.
Our friend Leela's in the chat, and I love this. She says, brand or be branded. I love that.
That is the perfect title we talk about all the time, right? When you go to think of a channel name, it's like D and I and Leela, same thing. We use our names because we made a choice either to create a brand that we were going to use, or to actually be branded, turn our actual our names into a brand itself, so that people start associating our names with the kind of content we make. And it works. There's a lot of people out there, in our niche, especially people like Dara Leaves and Roberto Blake that do it that way. Your brother Nick does the same thing. UD, we use our names. But there are other channels that do, like Ed from Film Booth, where he does a similar strategy thing, but his channel is Film Booth, or Nate from Channel Makers. So he decided to pick a brand name that you understand when you go Channel Makers. It's people who are trying to make channels. So that kind of branding play is it. So pick one, go with it. If you're going to use your own name, then use your name. That's great. And if you're going to try to go with a branding play that isn't your exact name, something that makes sense, something that people will remember, easy to understand, stick in their heads.
And don't get too clever with it.
Yeah. It is.
A lot of
Sometimes people
times
get
trying
clever.
to get overly clever, like it works for you, but for everybody else, it's difficult.
Well, speaking of clever, I do like this channel name, 80s Lady Reactions. Now, not exactly sure what this is, but I guess it's a reaction video channel, I would say. Who's up? Is it me or is it D?
It's you, but she's either 80 or she's reacting to the 80s.
Well, let me tell you what I
I'm
hope
on
it's
board
the
either
80s.
way. I'm on board either way. Yeah.
If she's 80 years old and reacting to the 80s, I love it.
Yeah.
She said, I had to walk away from my channel because of a health issue. Well, when you get to be 80, mental health can be tricky. Trust me, I know. I lived that life.
Yeah.
I hope you're better now. But she says, just as it was getting going, that's when she had to walk away. That's tough. Any help would be appreciated. Okay, well, why don't you give me a countdown, Megan, here, and let's see what we can do.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, the first thing I would say is all you've done is I think you've got a kind of a neat avatar, which is probably tough to read this profile picture on a mobile device, but that's fine. What I don't like is all you did was stuck it up in the channel art as a circle and it became redundant. So let's try to make a channel art that explains what this is, because you could see D and I were wrestling like, I think we know what it is, but all based on the name, nothing else. So let's say whatever this thing is, if you're doing reactions to 80s things, then if that's what that is, or you're an 80-year-old person or you're whatever is or 80s style, make sure that's clear what this is. Spell it out up top in the channel art so we know. Again, uploads, multiple playlists. You've got things here that do not help me understand what this channel is. I have to now go more granular and try to read a video. My first reaction to Lewis Capaldi. I don't know who that is. Lewis Capaldi, I would say that it says official live video, so maybe a singer. Again, Lewis Capaldi bruises. So if that's what reaction to Harry Styles, so reacting to different to singers, make sure that's clear up here and make sure you're using some of their images in your thumbnails. So boom, I think I nailed it that time.
That was good.
You know, one thing I would think, channels like this, think about if you're going to do reactions to music, make sure that you're leveraging things that are trending. One of the things that people forget is trending is important. Things that people are already interested in, leverage that. Don't say, well, I'm reacting to some song that I thought was kind of cool. Well, that's you. You made that for you. What you should be thinking about, guys like Rick Beato make great music channels where he reacts to the top 10 songs on the Billboard charts. And he's a music producer. He's a fantastic musician. And he's giving you insight, breaking them down, telling you what he loved about them, telling you what he didn't love about them. So you get this really strong reaction to very trending top 10 Billboard hits. So think about making sure when you do react to something, and it's something people are interested in seeing a reaction to because they've had their own reaction to that same thing.
Yeah, and again, I'm big on putting people's faces in the videos if you're actually talking about those people, be it a movie star or a singer-songwriter, etc., because their fans are going to identify with that imagery before they identify with your imagery.
Yeah. Hey, look, quick, let me ask the chat. If you guys forget anything we've said about this channel, if one of these thumbnails passed by you, if it was on the homepage of YouTube as you logged in, give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, whether you like it or not, but if you'd understand at a glance what this was without having to stop and read it. If you saw one of these at a glance, thumbs up if you go, yeah, I totally get what that is, nice and easy to understand, or thumbs down if it's difficult for you to understand what this is about. Again, this one's actually 10 days ago, 6 months ago, so these are newer thumbnails. Good thing to think about is thumbnails. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. Tell us what you think about this. Let's see. G Ready Prince says, I don't think I understand it. Amy Johnson Crow says thumbs down. Not dissing you, just hard for her to understand what's going on here. Street Beef Scrapyard says same thing. Thumbs down. It's tricky to understand. Our good friends at Amp to Glamp, they're out glamping and still they have a little trouble understanding what the thumbnails are. That's one of those things you want to talk about. Just think about getting these thumbnails to make a ton of sense to people who are out there on the outside looking in. We're trying to win the click. So if one of the things you can work on right off the bat, getting focused, making sure you're making strong content about things that are trending, and then making sure you're building thumbnails that are easy for people to understand, just like the other music channel we looked at. Kind of similar advice. If you're going to react to something, a song, a musician, put that person's face in there and make sure it's something people are interested in.
Yeah, if I were making a reaction or a first time listening to a Harry Styles song, my imagery, it would be split, right? And it would be half of it would be Harry Styles, a very good picture of Harry Styles so his fans could identify. I'd make sure his name is in the title, right? And it's not truncated off so where his fans can see that. And then my picture would be something questionable, right? I wouldn't say, wow, it's great, because I'm just giving it away right there. It would be something questionable where I'm just like, ooh,
Yeah.
right? Because his fans are going to go, ooh, what? They don't like that song? They're crazy. And they're going to click on that and come in, right? So
Yeah.
you don't want to give everything away in your thumbnail in your situation. Add some curiosity to it.
Smart. Great advice. I've got Harry style too. I could take a
You
quick
don't want me to
second.
take my shirt off, do you? Because
Show me your back.
here's the funny thing. If I take off a shirt, it still looks like I have a shirt on.
Hey, sweater.
Yeah.
What is that, cashmere?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we'd like to take a quick second to thank our sponsors who allow us to do this kind of show on the channel here.
This live stream is sponsored in part by StreamYard, live streaming made simple, and by Spreadshop, the #1 resource for all of your print-on-demand needs.
So listen, if you're interested in trying StreamYard and making the kind of live stream that you see right here, we've got links down below, as well as links to Spreadshop, where you can set up your own Spreadshop and start selling merch for free today.
Leela.
Let's see. Who do we have here? Megan, what's to catch me up to speed? What do we got going on?
There should be somebody in the private chat for you.
Okay, let me pull that up.
Leela, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Let's see.
Who's up?
It looks like Southern Cross Great Outdoors.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting spelling on the name of the channel here. Let me just pull this in so you can see it.
Yep.
All right. Megan, you got that counter over there? You ready to put these feet to the fire?
Three.
It's me?
It's
Yep.
you. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, first thing I notice up here on the channel art, if I'm reading left to right, as most people do, I'm reading Southern the Great Cross Outdoors. So I would kind of rethink how you are positioning that there, and I would try to think, like, what exactly are you doing outdoors? Okay, I don't know that by looking at your channel. You're doing something outdoors. What are you doing outdoors? Coming down to your avatar here, your profile picture, get rid of the text. You can't see it. Palm tree is good enough. Okay, coming down to the thumbnails. Hey, I'm in Thailand. Okay, so here's the same thing with the thumbnails. If you move over, you're trying to cram a lot into the thumbnails, and you are using simple fonts, but I would like to see those larger. Make those larger so that it's really easy to read. Imagine somebody sitting at home, it's 3 a.m., they've had a couple of things to drink, and they're blurry vision, they're scrolling on YouTube. You want your thumbnail to be readable to them, right?
10 seconds.
Okay. Travel and food, I would like more specifics for your playlist title. Travel and food in Vietnam. Or Vietnam street food. Thailand street food could be a playlist title. And then you put all of those together instead of just travel and food. That's too generic. So think about niching down within those playlists.
Nice.
That's so fast, 60 seconds, man.
That's very fast. But that's, you
Yeah.
know, like we say, though, the things that you notice right off the bat in 60 seconds,
That's
just like we
right.
said earlier, it's like 60 seconds is infinitely longer than the average person landing on your channel or spotting one of your videos is going to give you before they make a decision whether or not to watch or not to watch. So it really does come down to that. The ability to be super effective and connect at a glance really is important. The ability for people to understand what your channel's about, what your content's about, why they would want to watch, who the target audience is in an instant. All of that is going on simultaneously. So there's a lot that we have to wrestle with and go, how do we simplify that and make it easy to understand? And I think that's why we see a lot of people put a lot of text in their thumbnails or add a lot of things in there because they're like, but I need to make all this clear. And what ends up happening is they actually end up looking cluttered, and it makes it harder to understand.
Yeah, Leela says, in quotes, make thumbnails so easy to understand that drunk people get it. And I see Paul Peck laughing. Yes, but that's true. But it's not only drunk people. What about people who don't speak English as their first language? And they're kind of struggling to figure out the words, right? Simplicity wins on YouTube every single time. Keep it
100%.
simple.
Totally agree. Okay, let's see here. We have the Hill Country Prepper. Let me see, was there a question with that? He said, I think I have a good banner art on my channel. Give it a quick look. You betcha. I think I will. All right. Megan, give me a countdown here.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, I think you're right. You do have a pretty decent, understandable, and readable channel art, but here's the problem I have. It's all name. Hill Country Prepper. Everything comes from the channel name. I got that when I saw the channel name. Be informed, be prepared. That's not bad, but what I don't see is you just got a starry image and weekly videos. What I'm missing is I know this is a prepper channel, But but where I'm getting that from is all from the name Hill Country Prepper. Take that out, I don't understand the rest of it. Be informed, be prepared doesn't help me. Weekly videos doesn't help me. The starry background doesn't help me. So think about getting imagery in there that actually represents that prepping lifestyle, and get like, I want to see like someone who's got like the all kinds of food stores up on the shelves and stacked nice and organized. Like if the world ended tomorrow, you could survive for 6 months without a problem. I want that prepper feel. I want that vision. So it's not just words, imagery.
The end of the world. Right.
There you go.
Could you survive the upcoming collapse of society?
Yeah. Crippled. I got cut right off there. Yeah, think about that. The same thing that we always talk about is trying to make it easy for the viewer to understand. It's not bad channel art, but you just basically have centered text and it doesn't really compel me, right? Like I always think about this. When I talk about channel art, think about this. If you wrote a book and you put it out in a bookstore, what would you name the book, and how would you have the cover art designed by a professional so that you go, I really want it to stick out in this, vast amount of other books. I want my book to really jump out so that people choose mine over the other ones in that aisle of the bookstore. So think about that when you create your channel art. It's very similar. Keep it simple, make it compelling, make it understandable, make it visually true to the thing that you're trying to create. So people understand with all of their senses. They see it, they read it, they kind of just, everything just starts absorbing in, because images can provoke memories, feelings, emotions. So don't ignore imagery. That's why we have thumbnails, right? There's a place for text and there's a place for images. Thumbnails are for texts. Is for image. I think so. Thumbnails are for images and the titles are for text. And the same is true when you have channel art. You're bringing those two things together, text and imagery all together, to sell the vision of what that channel's about.
Okay, I want to add just a little bit on there. I'm into prepping content. I'm not a prepper, but I'm fascinated by preppers who are on social media making videos. Here are things that get my attention when I'm scrolling around, when I'm in that doom mode where I'm like, okay, there's something's coming. I'm going to, right? Show me something in your thumbnail or your channel art that I might not have already thought about as a prepper. Because I'm going to say, what is that? Why does he have that? And why do I need it? Those are the things that get my attention. Just somebody who would probably watch your content, little tip there. What is that and why would I need it?
Totally. The Matt Cave said, $4.99 super chat. Should the pinned comment always lead to a playlist on my channel? Love the show. Hey, great question. Thank you for the super chat. Should the pinned comment always lead to a playlist on your channel? My strategy has always been this. I think smaller channels should not push towards playlists. I think smaller channels should push towards individual videos. And the reason I believe that is because I have the data to back it up. If you try to recommend lots of things to one person, remember, each one of these people we're dealing with is an individual, not groups of people. Someone watching your video that they're currently on is a singular person. So do you look at them and go, could you please watch 12 of my other videos? That's a lot to ask. It's easier to say, hey, if this was helpful, let me present you with another video that's very focused, relevant, and high performing that I think you'll like as well, and see if you can get them to bite on a single video, not to try to get them to commit to a playlist. And I would also add that if you're going to put a pinned comment, make sure you use the cards, the end screens, the link in the description above the fold, meaning way up top near the top of the description where they can see it, and a pinned comment, and use them together. Don't send people to a different video in each one of those things. Send them all in the same direction, because if different people click, you can have 4 different people take 4 different actions: card, end screen, link in the description, pinned comment. But those 4 people, if you only have one video there and it's all the same video, then they all send the same traffic signal back to YouTube. And YouTube starts realizing people who are watching this video seem to be going on to watch this next video, and they can actually start picking up on those traffic signals. And if you get enough people to do one of those or any of those things, YouTube will start following suit and going, maybe we should recommend this other video that we see them going to the next person who comes along. And you can start influencing the way YouTube recommends content.
I was just writing a comment in the chat, so stop me if you said this while you were just saying all of that, because I wasn't listening. So another thing about linking to a playlist is if you don't have videos, and this is something that we struggle with as new creators, like even as people have been doing this for a while, we struggle to get people to binge watch our content. So if you're not at the point yet where you can get people to binge watch your content by linking out to a playlist, you're not really getting that far, because you lack the skills as a new creator to get people to swing from one video to another and binge watch your content. So if you
Absolutely.
said that, I apologize. But
No, that's
wanted to throw that in there.
that's people need to hear all of this. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you added that. We have a super chat $9.99 from Tamara Simons, real estate mentor. Thank you very much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Who asks, I'm working to revive my channel. Love the battalion membership and all of the info provided. Need effective titles and thumbnails. Boy, I tell you, I hear you. We all do. That's so important. So let me do this.
Can I say something before you tackle this one?
You're tackling it. This is all you.
Oh, okay. Well, let me say this, and before we look at her titles,
Yeah.
I just want to say I think your header looks great in terms of just graphics and color choices, and you put yourself in there and font choices, but it's too busy. And you can also lose the social media graphics on the left-hand side because you already have those on the right-hand side. I would just simplify it. There's a lot going on up there.
Yeah. And yeah, even this, there's so much things. I wouldn't even put any of this up here. I would have, first of all, see where that Y partner and the arrows pointing not to the website. And I would be, instead of using the website text, I would use something more compelling. I would make sure the arrow points to it. There's all kinds of things that Dee's talking about. Streamline this, make it easy. Don't flood the viewer. What do we call it? Being an asshole, right? Hey, go check out my Twitter. Hey, check out my Instagram. Subscribe here. Check over here. Now I've got more things telling you what to do. Put the needs of the viewer first. Give them value. Don't keep asking for everything the minute they land here. Show them what you're going to provide for them. But I'm already talking too much. This is a 60-second strategy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What was she interested in again?
She was interested in titles and thumbnails. So what I'll do is I'm going to go to her videos tab, and I'll pull out the old man magnifying glass, and Megan will give a countdown, and you can give some advice to what you think.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, your thumbnails, it looks like you're just taking screenshots of the actual live stream that you're doing or the recorded video that you're doing. That's not going to fly on YouTube. You need to actually, if you can't do it yourself, go to canva.com. You can get free templates there, put yourself in there, think about like what is a particular video about and just pick 3 or 4 words and use those as trigger words on your thumbnail. Now, in regards to titles, I'm just going to go over here, like, is YouTube for you ? That is so vague. So if you're targeting real estate agents, is YouTube right for you as a real estate agent? Or something along those lines, right? You want to make sure that you're putting your target keywords in your titles as well, so they know who it's for. Michael Burns, real estate investor. Be careful with your truncation on there, right? If you're making titles that are too long, it's getting cut off. Let me see. It's hard to keep up with Daniel's swing here. Hold on. Serena Keller left, Williams for a career. Okay, so instead of putting necessarily names in your titles of these people, unless they have if those people come with a large audience and they've got a fan base or they're famous, that's fine. Otherwise, put in there what you're talking about, right? What are you talking about during this live stream? What is the most important thing that's important to the viewers? That's what needs to be in your title, unless these are superstar real estate agents that your other viewers are going to recognize and search for.
Yeah, what's really funny is, when she talks about titles, this is something we've been covering in the battalion membership group recently, is trying to develop not necessarily search-based titles. I think people sometimes who are utility channels come to YouTube and they get so wrapped up in SEO that they forget they should be optimizing for the viewer, not for the machine. Now, I don't think that that's what you're doing here, but I will tell you, just try to wordsmith titles here, Tamara. Like this one, who's an agent's real competition online? I know what you mean, but that is such a weird, like, amalgamation of word choice. It's almost word soup. I would much rather you have said something like the true enemy of the true online enemy of a real estate agent, or something like, the secret hidden, the hidden enemy of the hidden online enemy of every real estate agent. I'd be wordsmithing that and going, how can I make this super compelling so someone goes, oh, I get that in a second, and use like really powerful words that grab them, that hidden, that secret enemy, that hiding enemy, whatever it is, of every agent, every real estate agent, and make them go, well, who is it? Who is that? That secret enemy that I don't know about, or my biggest competition. But the way you've got it written, who's an agent's real competition online, is so, I have to stop and read it twice to go, oh, you're saying like, who is for a real estate agent, who would their online competition be? But it's just worded really funny. So really think about, when you build titles, everybody, remember that we're trying to make it easy for the viewer to understand. I totally agree with Dee about thumbnails. But I think the worst kind of thumbnails are the ones where you just capture something and let like YouTube just grab something from it and go, just put it up there. Even especially when it doesn't quite fit. I hate when you see like the black lines left and right. So it's not even maximizing the real estate well. So you got to really think about treating thumbnails for what they are. They should be something that explains the discussion at hand, even if they're live streams. I think sometimes people go, well, it's a live stream, so I'll just, what does it matter what the thumbnail is? If anyone noticed, like we had a nice thumbnail. I mean, I spent time developing a thumbnail. Here it is for today's stream. So I spent about a bunch of time trying to make sure that you understood that we were going to be doing 60-second strategy tips today. And I built something very custom and easy to read and go, oh, it's Daniel's doing the 60-second strategy. And I don't even keep reusing the same one. I make a new one that's a little different every time, so that if you've seen a previous one, or if they're on my channel somewhere in a replay, you'll realize this is different. It's not the same one as the last time we did it. So really, really powerful stuff. Make sure you're thinking about the experience for the viewer, because viewer experience is just about all of it. That's something we can control.
It is all of it. Viewer experience and viewer satisfaction, right? Well, that's viewer experience, right? So
listen, we've been doing this for about a little over an hour here. I want to thank everybody for hanging out here today. I want to thank my good friend Dean Nimmin for stopping by. I love having you here, pal.
Unexpected. Thank you. It's like a last minute thing. Hey, do you want to come in?
And he's in dropping all kinds of knowledge bombs. So for those of you who don't know, Dee and I are actually presenting together this year at Vid Summit 2022. It's going to be fantastic. If you haven't grabbed tickets for that, it ain't cheap, and they're very limited. But boy,
I sold
being there and watching Mr. Beast talk and seeing guys, I mean, Zach King's going to be there talking. There were so many great presenters. Your brother Nick's going to be there presenting.
I think you missed a couple super chats, by the way.
Oh, did I? Let me see. Let me
I think so. Yeah.
Over here. Let me see. Megan, did you get some in here? Yeah, I always seem to miss them. I got to say thank you to some people. Here's one right here. Street Beef Scrapyard said, do you think it hurts a channel to do a weekly podcast to address from your audience? My channel is Backyard Fights, but we talk about the fights. Do I think it hurts a channel to do a weekly podcast to address your audience? I don't think so. I think if you do them effectively, here's the thing. I think whenever you do, no matter what you do on your channel, let the data be your guide. Your audience will tell you. It's because you can't just say, is it good to do weekly podcasts? How good are the podcasts? Are they true to the value prop? Is your target audience enjoying them? Do they further the growth of your channel? Let your data tell you that. And if it looks like you're gaining subscribers and people are watching a good amount and you're getting good engagement in the chat of your podcast, or if it's a replay podcast with people leaving a lot of comments, then do more of them. But let the data be your guide for that kind of thing. And my good friend Alton, the Dogfather Barbecue. Good morning, guys. I'm in the same boat as Tamara, looking to restart the channel after some time off. I struggle with thumbnails, so any advice is welcome. We talked to Alton before. Alton has a barbecue channel, and I've always said his greatest thumbnails are the one that just show the barbecue. Show them the barbecue. Yep. If you give them super tasty looking products that you're making, I think that's an easy win. There's always other things we've talked about. Any way that you can show them process, if you can show like a lot of channels have been doing really well in the cooking niche by doing things. I talked to Alton about this, like, this is once I learned how to make chicken this way, I never made it any other way again. And they'll show like raw chicken with like a sauce being dumped over it. And it's super compelling because it's like, well, what's the sauce and what's the way you're doing it? And it's so delicious that I'll never make it any other way. Those kinds of things can trigger the viewer to go, when you create a lot of curiosity around your content, when people look at it and you can leverage fear, you can leverage curiosity, or you can leverage some sort of gain for the viewer. Do this to be able to grow your channel faster, like a gain, right? Or if you're saying a fear, like the 5 biggest mistakes new YouTubers make, right? Oh my, what mistakes are they? Am I making those mistakes? But it starts leveraging fear and curiosity. When you start putting curiosity into the mix, that can be hugely compelling for winning the click, represented in your titles and represented in your thumbnails.
Yeah, and I just want to say it's easy to overthink your thumbnails too. Like, what are they going to click on? Just reverse everything. Think of everything from a viewer's perspective. What would you click on? What are your right? Just know your audience. What is your audience there for? Put that in the thumbnail. Don't overthink it.
Foot Doctor Zach, look at these 2 jokes they're streaming during my workday. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt your day, Zach. Thank you for the super chat, Zach. I really appreciate it. Foot Doctor Zach, the guy who cuts shoes in half and
Awesome
starts
channel.
telling you the tech from the inside. He's got such a great channel because he literally gets these crazy shoes before anyone else can get them, like these new Nikes, and these things are hot, like $200-$300 pair of shoes. First thing he does, he pulls out a knife and cuts them in half and starts showing you how they're made. Nuttiest kind of stuff you've ever seen, and he's an actual foot doctor, so he's talking about how they're built and how it what's effective for your feet and what's a great made shoe and how they put it together. Love his channel, and he's been rewarded for being so specifically niche because his channel just keeps growing and growing and growing. He's been very successful. Also a battalion member. Love to see the people in our group just crush it.
Homestead Dreaming, they say we missed their super chat.
Did we? Homestead Dreaming. Hold on, let me go back. Hold on a second. I apologize.
Yeah.
Things do move.
The chat moves kind of fast here sometimes. It's easy for those things to just scroll right by.
See the Matt Cave. I am scrolling. I'm trying to see if I can catch it. If I did miss it, I apologize. Sometimes these go pretty quickly when we're trying to do 60 seconds. But I appreciate the super chat wherever it was. I'm not seeing it, but
scrolling backwards.
I'm scrolling. I'm not seeing it either. No, I'm not. 80s Lady Reaction. I'm not seeing that one. I apologize if we missed it, but we do thank you for the super chat. We thank everybody for hanging out today. And I'll be doing this again. This is something I'm going to be doing every month.
Oh, I found it.
Oh, did you find it?
I found it. Yeah, it says, I'm having trouble with CTR and views. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
What's the name of the channel?
Homestead Dreaming. Yeah, so if you're having with click-through rate again, it's going to be choosing either the right words or the right images that's going to be attractive to your viewers. So we're gonna look here and get you pulled up.
Yeah. So one of the things we want to talk about here. Thank you for the super chat. CTR, never get wrapped up in a single metric.
Yes.
One of the things I think people get confused on, they go like, "What's a good CTR?" Well, how many impressions? Because a good CTR on the platform, it averages anywhere from 2 to 10%, depending on. Pardon me, burping here at the same time I'm trying to talk. 2 to 10%. But it's totally relative. You look at someone like Mr. Beast. I've seen his data on some of his high performing videos, and he'll have like a 4.7 click through rate. But that's on billions of impressions, so it means different things. When you get more views and more impressions, your click through rate goes down. Your AVD tends to go down. So one of the things you want to think about is making sure that you are looking at things in perspective. Nobody needs to tell you when a video is doing well, right? You don't go like, "Wow, my video just drove 4,000 views in the first hour. I wonder what the CTR is." You'll know when a video is doing well. But really quickly here, thinking about views and thinking about thumbnails and clicks. What do you say here?
She have? Can a trash can compost? Okay, that kind of font, you're right on the line to being not so legible, especially if I've had a drink or two on a mobile device. A pull-up place, harvest. I love that you're putting yourself in the thumbnails. You actually look really friendly. And I love that you're holding food. Like, that's great, right? Because that's what your viewers are going to be interested in. Urban home update. I would try to find a thicker font. I don't think that's going to be like the huge needle swing that you're looking for there. I would start, I don't know what your click-through rate is. I don't know what your impressions are, as Daniel was just talking about. But like, you're showing your garden, maybe try putting close-ups of your garden in there, right? If shots further away are not working, try shots of a close-up, like a giant carrot or a pumpkin or whatever it is. Bring stuff up close and test it that way, and try a simpler font.
Yeah, and keep the messaging clear. We always talk about messaging, right? Like, here's a perfect one. Like, you've got like this is my first Arkansas garden tour, and you've got urban garden tour in May and the date, and it's like, just show a great shot of the garden. Get the best possible photo of the garden. If you're doing hiding edible plants in my flower bed, that's a great title. But then don't, you get your face and then edible landscaping. Like, the last thing I can see is like, I don't know what's going on. I would rather have seen one great shot of this in the garden and maybe a word, edible, and then
question mark
with an arrow,
right?
Like, what is it? I can eat that? What is it? And it creates curiosity. So really think about targeting what works when you look at your own content, right? When I see these ones are like 947 views, 867 views, but then I look at this, 2,300. This one did 3 times better. Creating a free garden border with yard trimmings that connected because you provided value for the viewer. They went, "Oh, how did she do that garden border with trimmings? I want to learn how she did that." There was information. That compelled them, as opposed to something that was more about what you were doing. Spring planting is in full swing. Okay, well, what does that do for me as a viewer? You're just telling me what you're doing. But when you start giving the viewer something that they can walk away with, that seems to do well. So I would double down on that type of content and lean on that bucket a little harder.
Yeah, I
looks
also
like we
want to
got-
say that click-through rate isn't always just about the thumbnails either. It's the overall packaging. It's a combination of the title and the thumbnail and how they're working together.
4 T's: topic, title, thumbnail, and timing, depending on when that drops. If you drop a Christmas video in the middle of April, that probably isn't going to do all that great. So topic, title, thumbnail, timing, get those 4 things together, and you can increase your CTR. Plant-Based Bistro dropped $10. Thanks, guys. Any input is welcome. I'm going late here. We have to move quick, but I'll do this.
This is the last one. This is the last one. Yeah.
Plant-Based Bistro. We will pull you up quickly. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Plant-Based Bistro. Love the channel name. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. Plant-Based Bistro. D, take a look. Tell me what you think.
Plant-Based Bistro. Who said plant-based had to be boring? I love that. I like the messaging there. I'm interested in this, right? Yep. Your thumbnail. See how bold and easy to read the fonts are here, right? The text. Veggie broth, fresh and flavored, pico de gallo. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about simplicity of a thumbnail, as well as, here, go back for a second. You see how they have the close-ups of the items chopped up there? Imagine if that was shot from 3 feet away where you can see all of the table. You're going to say, what is going on there on that table, right? They're bringing it right up and putting it in your face because that's what the viewer's interested in. They want to see that. So you have to learn what your viewers are interested in. Yeah. I think the thumbnails look great.
I think everything's
They got
great.
The stretchy cheese. I love it. Only thing that I would do, and I'm not looking at the titles yet, the only thing I would do with the thumbnails, I don't know if you're doing this on a phone or a computer, but whatever software or app you're using, I would go in and bump up the vibrance or the saturation, just maybe 5%, just to make those colors pop out a little bit more. Yeah. Don't overdo it. Just a smidgen to make them, just those colors, especially the greens and the reds and the oranges and the yellows, make those colors pop.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good things here. I think the imagery is pretty strong. Don't be afraid to play with, again, when you go to win that click, don't be afraid to play with the title. When you say something like, this is what we were talking about with Alton's barbecue channel, vegetable broth from scraps, instant pot recipe, nice and simple. And it's definitely targeting search, but sometimes you want to not just target search. You want to target recommendation. I did a video about this, but let me give you an example. When I look up chicken recipes, right? You think, oh, well, chicken recipe, I'm going to see like all these names that are just titles for chicken recipes. Look at this. Look at the top video right here. All it is cute. It's a chicken raw. It's not even finished. It's so delicious that I cook this chicken breast almost every day. Incredibly fast and easy. It's got almost 500,000 views. It's the #1 result for chicken recipes, but it doesn't even tell you what the recipe is. It's super compelling. And you go, well, what is it? Why are you cutting it that way? It's so delicious. You cook it every day. I want to see what that is. So when you start breaking things up and start using compelling elements, quick and easy garlic butter chicken breast recipe, right? Great image, quick and easy.
Again,
those are those compelling elements, right?
It's in your face again, right? The imagery.
Yep, that's the kind of stuff you want to watch for. Because yes, there's different ways to approach it, but I think there's also different tips. Like right here, here is like a piece of chicken on a cheese grater, and you're like, what's going on here? Don't defrost chicken breast. Quick and easy and delicious dinner. Like that is just, and it's got 5.3 million views because it's like, don't defrost it. So you keep it frozen and then you grate it. Like there's so many curiosity things happening here. This earned 5.3 million views, didn't tell us what they were making, but compelled us with something by making us think outside the box and go, are they taking a chicken breast to a cheese grater? Stopped them in their tracks and got rewarded with over 5 million views for that. So think outside of the box. Don't always think that everything has to be, this is what this video is. I'm going to write those exact words in the title. So if people search for it, they'll find this. Make sure that you're making content that when people are scrolling and they aren't looking for it, it stops them in their tracks and they go, I'm curious, or what's going on? I want to watch this. That's interesting to me. I like cooking. I do like to cook chicken, but what's happening here? I need to know. I need to click and I need to watch.
Yeah, and that applies to the homesteading dreaming channel we pulled up. Like all of that applies to you as well, right? In terms of how to put your thumbnails and your titles together.
100%. So listen, thank you everybody for hanging out today. Thank you everyone for the super chats. Thank you, Mr. Dean Nimmin, and everybody enjoy the rest of your day.